Okay, now that you watched the loom video where you learned about Heather Goller, you are ready to begin drawing your landscape. So we are going to just work on drawing today, and next week we are going to talk about coloring and adding pattern. So you're going to start to have with your paper horizontally. That is when it is longer sideways than it is on top. So this is my paper horizontally. This is your paper vertically. For this project, we are not having our paper vertically. So the first thing we do when we draw a landscape is draw the horizon line. And that's the line that separates the ground and the sky. So I want everyone to try to draw a straight, long line across the middle of your paper. Wonderful. So now that you've done that, we need to make our rows like that you see in all of Heather Goller's work. So this part is a little bit tricky, so make sure you're watching carefully. You are kind of going from the middle out. All of these lines are kind of diagonal. So a straight line is like this, straight across, and a diagonal line, this is straight, and then this is diagonal. So we're going to make all diagonal lines. So I'm going to start on the side, and I'm going to draw one diagonal line. And as I go towards the center, I'm going to go in this direction towards the edge of my page. I'm going to make another one. Okay, so that's two diagonal lines I just drew. Now, I'm going to go to the other side, and I want you to draw a diagonal line going the other way. 1, 2. So, can you see it happening? Your lines are starting to look like they're going back into space. Ta-da! So now we have all of our diagonal lines. Next, we want to draw trees on the top, just like Heather Goller. Now, she had very simple trees. She makes her trees with a circle, and then the stump, the trunk. Circle, trunk. The trunk is just a rectangle, and the top is a circle. I'm going to draw 3 trees. So something you'll see also in a lot of her work is a barn. Now there are 2 ways you can make your barn. You can do one by simply making a square with a triangle on top. You can also add a barn door. And that is one easy way to make a barn. Now, if you want to make your barn a little bit more complicated, follow along. You can go to the top of your roof and make a little diagonal line down. This isn't straight, it's just a little curvy. Then at the bottom of your roof, you can make another one. Okay? I'm going to attach that and bring it down. So that gives me a cube with a triangle on top. So that makes my barn look 3-dimensional. You don't have to do this. You can stick with just a square and a rectangle. But if you want to give yourself a challenge, you can try to make the side of your barn too. So just to reiterate to you one more time, you want to start with your horizon line. Then you want to make some diagonal lines going towards the sides of your papers. So when I started on this side, I drew my diagonal line out and out again and out again. Then I went the other way. And I went this way, and this way. Okay, so I know it's a little tricky and it might be a little challenging to do at home. So please feel free to email me if you have any difficulty. Usually this might take one or two tries. Sometimes we make mistakes and that's okay. But that's why I always also start with a pencil and I always have an eraser. So if you have some extra time still and you have a marker, you can also outline all of your wonderful work that you made. Sometimes I turn my paper and it helps me. Not sure if I like this last line I added. So now next week you are ready to start coloring, and I am going to make another video where I explain all of that to you. After I outline, I always take my handy dandy eraser and go over the spots I may have missed. If the diagonal lines are too confusing and you feel a little lost, you can always make them straight lines too, because we can still do our project with straight lines up and down. So if this is a little confusing, you can make them straight. Okay, come and we will talk again next week on how we are going to add lots of color and pattern to these beautiful landscapes.